Hello.
Hi, is that Jon B?
Yes.
Hi, John. It's DJ Gloss here from Sound Fusion Radio. How are you?
How you doing, man?
Very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Great to hear your voice, and wonderful to...
Absolutely.
Wonderful opportunity. So you're at the Jazz Cafe right now, then?
Yeah, I'm on my way right now. I'm about to walk in the Jazz Cafe as we speak.
Oh, wonderful. That's brilliant. That's great. Well, one gig down and one to go. Tell us all about it. Tell us how... I know that last night went absolutely fantastically, but tell us all about it.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's just such a pleasure every time. I've been doing this for some years now. It's been sort of a tradition. And it's an amazing time of year. I mean, you know, I love to come out, put the jackets on and scarves and the gloves and walk to the gig from the hotel, literally, you know what I mean? It's just it's a certain ambiance that London has, and Camden particularly has. I really find inspiring, you know?
Yeah.
So the shows seem to have that passion, you know, just because I'm getting something a little extra than I normally get. It's cool, you know?
That's very true. I mean, the Jazz Cafe stage and environment does kind of set that up, though, John. Don't you agree?
Yeah, man, it's awesome, and the crowd is so amazing, and the crowd is so, you know, just passionate about the music as well. So it's a complete, you know, it's a complete night. It really is. I always walk away from those gigs so fulfilled, you know. That's
absolutely wonderful. So, are you doing anything different tonight to last night? Are things going to change a little bit, or is it going to be similar?
The set's going to stay the same.
Yeah,
same songs. I tried to do a variety of records from the first album to the second album, the third album. I think the only album I didn't really touch on was one of my a fan actually reminded me. She said, "How come you didn't play anything from Help This Romantic album?" It's so refreshing, man, to see the fans that know all of the music. They're correlated with all of, you know, my music that I've done through the years, and that's just such a huge compliment to me, man. I mean, it really is a payoff at the end of the day when people let you know they're listening, you know, they're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you started out as a songwriter originally, and you know, you did fantastically as that, and here you are, you know, considerable time later, delivering, you know, great nights of music, wonderful fans, platinum albums. You know, it must be fabulous for you.
Well, I tell you, man, you know, all of this is just. It's all part of living the dream that I had when I was a little boy, man. And I bought my first keyboard. My father bought my first keyboard and drum machine and, you know, tape recorder. And I started to make my first songs, you know, and it started with that. It started with the idea of let me do like my heroes, like, you know, groups like Duran Duran. Without Duran Duran, I don't even think I would be Jon B. Like, I would literally not be an artist.
Wow.
Because it was artists like them. It was artists like them who, at a young age of like maybe 7 or 8, I was so inspired by that, and like tried to dress like them, tried to, you know, start singing. I wanted to learn about keyboards because I wanted to be Nick Rhodes, you know. I was just like obsessed, you know. And so, you know, the lineage is very important for people to know. Like that's what sort of gave me my vision for fashion, you know, for my understanding of fashion at a very young age. You know, I was rocking fedoras and sport coats and T-shirts to school and looking all mod, you know what I mean? It was very influential. So, you know, for me, what you see now as a grown man is sort of the same reflection of those influences. You know, it's just a lot more to it now, obviously, but, you know, your foundation is your foundation. And I always have to give it up to the UK just for being such an important part of my lineage, you know.
Wonderful. And it's so lovely that you see it that way with the UK. You know, we are very supportive of your style of music here, but you know, it's a two-way thing, and you know, it takes that constant delivery that, you know, looking at the way your discography has sort of panned out. You know, it's been consistent, and you know, not huge amounts of time between albums like some artists. You know, it's a continuous delivery, and I think that fans appreciate that, you know.
That's great, man. I mean, I really love what I do, so it's always sort of like is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? All right, no, cool. I have to take another year, and it's not like I want to, take 5 years to produce a record, but if need be, I will take the time that's necessary, but I feel like 3 years is long enough to go without, putting any art out. I just really, at that point, I'm jonesing to make some new music and to let everybody hear where I'm at, because a lot changes in 3 years. The style of music, the different shifts that happen inside the game. So it's nice to be able to keep up with the times too, so that you're not dated in that sense,
Yeah.
People go, oh, I love that song, but at the same time, I love this new song you came out with, so.
Well, that's always good, and as long as they keep loving them, Jon, then that's just right, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Wonderful.
Good stuff.
That's great. So, did music find you, do you think, as a child, or did you go find music? I mean, how did that all sort of come about? You said about your keyboard,
It was sort of, it was sort of like a handed present. It was like I had the rhythm, because I was beating on the tables in school and making beats, and little girls would jump and rope, and I remember I'd play beats like in the second grade, third grade on these tables. We had the lunch tables, at lunchtime, and I'd play beats on the table. And little girls would like jump rope to my beats because they liked the way I played, and it was funny because it was that year, I think second or third grade, that I really started to, hear all the music that I just spoke of, and I started to really get excited about stuff. Like I remember walking around the playground where all the other kids were sort of playing, kickball or whatever, football or whatever. I'm walking around with my notepad writing songs or singing songs like to my homie who was like, my mate back then, and just like he had his guitar and he would play his guitar, and we just walk around the playground, just making songs during lunchtime, and that's always been me, that's sort of like the way to describe the way you asked me, did music find me? It's like, yeah, I did. But if I didn't have that interest and that immediate like calling, because some kids have athleticism as their calling, some kids have, just being into school and being educated as their calling. I was really, really just into the music, and I felt it speaking to me, and every tape that, I would make for myself to listen to on my Walkman at school, that was in a sense, that was my way to learn how to do what I do now, because all I was trying to do was personify those same elements, go home and find a sound that was similar to the sound I heard on that record on my little keyboard or something, or try to find a chord, try to learn the chords of the song on the keyboard. Or like going on a drum set and playing drums to one of my favorite tunes, So that was how it all got developed, got better as the years went on.
Sounds absolutely great. And multiple skills there, so drumming, keyboarding. I mean, do you play any other instruments?
Really, I mean, I can play enough guitar to sort of be like rhythm, like one note or rhythm line, like ding 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 ding. You know what I mean? And
sounds like fun.
Get the party going. You know what I mean? But I could play like the John Travolta line for Staying Alive. You know what I mean? Like that's like my style of guitar playing. It's very kind of funky and just rhythmic, but it's not. I don't play chords and stuff like that. I'm better at the bass.
Yeah,
I can play bass as well, but it's definitely not the kind of thing where I say I'm a guitar player or a bass player, just because I have respect for those musicians who really do play the guitar and the bass.
Absolutely.
But I am a true proper keyboard player and a proper drummer. So
wonderful. Well, I mean, in writing music, being able to understand those other disciplines must be a great advantage, I would have thought, Jon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because when it comes to production, I mean, that's that much more of the artistic expression going into my music. It's coming from me. It's like from the rhythm, the root of the beat, to the chords, to the bass line. I want people to understand, like, it's not just about my voice, it's about the whole record and like the style that I'm trying to give you, and sort of that being a signature for what I consider my sound is, And I think I've definitely made a sound for myself over the years. I think I've differentiated myself from like a lot of the pop sort of R&B but they're pop at the same time. I think
Yes.
my music is it speaks volumes to the folks who grew up off of music like Guy and Keith Sweat and I'll Be Sure, all the music, great music of the 80s, but as 90s, you know, like Tony. And I mean, we can even go, you know, into the 70s and early 80s, like Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, of course,
Wonderful.
Donny Hathaway, all of that. But, you know, it's an ongoing influence because even the Chris Browns of today and the Drakes and the Weeknd and, you know, I mean, all these people inspire me now to do what I do now. So it's kind of like a whole amalgamy of everything that I hear that ends up being what I give you in the end, you know.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's like 4 decades of influences all coming together there. And, you know, icons, you know, the names you mentioned, in each of those decades, those are the icons in the genre, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so much great music out right now. I mean, honestly, I just think it's hard for people to kind of change with the times. I'm one of those guys. I change with the times. Like I'm up on all this music that you know, a lot of 40-year-olds. I'm 40, by the way. I mean, I'm proud to say it. You know, it's a milestone for me. So it's like I look at it like, you know, I could be a lot more jaded than I am. You know, I could be a lot more stuck in my box if I considered myself to be in one. But I don't, and so I feel free in this sense of really keeping up with the times and letting the way that the music styles change in R&B, because we've always followed trends and it's been a culture of music. You know, R&B is. It's not a market. It's not a business, man. And pop music is a business.
Absolutely.
R&B folks, we put records out because we want to feel something. Yeah. You know, whether it's we want to have sex, or we want to romanticize, or we want to get married, whether we want to talk about how much we hate our ex, you know, or whatever the scenario is. It's all passion. It's all coming from a real place, and it's not about marketability necessarily. No. You know what I mean? It's like it hasn't been a very marketable market. Like there's not millions of dollars, like billions of dollars being made in the R&B industry. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
absolutely right.
It's changed the whole. It's changed a whole lot over the last 10 years. Now it's like it's a very foggy line between R&B, what's considered R&B, and then what's considered pop now, and what would used to be considered pop. You know, so for me, my roots are in the R&B, and I really dig my feet in the sand and kind of plant myself there, and I'm happy to represent the style in the sense of like, you know, I embrace all my forefathers before me, you know, and I'm not afraid to, you know, admit my influences and tie myself into this, you know, this tradition of music that we've had for years.
Wonderful. And it's great to hear that, because, you know, with R&B not sort of being embraced into the pop world as such, it does mean that there is that passion still there. There is that talent that, unfortunately, when the big names get hold of things, that kind of all sort of gets diluted, and
it dilutes it, doesn't it? It dilutes it a little bit,
yeah.
I just feel like, in a sense, if things aren't big on a sensational scale now, that it's sort of underappreciated by people because they don't think it's good music or something. It's like, that's not a good product if everyone's not listening to it. And that's sort of like, it's never really been like that. I remember it was always nice to have something that someone didn't have. Like, it was like cool to have something that, you know, not everybody's up on. Now it's like, all right, if everybody's not listening to it, I'm probably not going to buy it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's very trendy, you know, and that's cool. You know, we adjust with that as well.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's just, you know, I remember the 90s when people used to go 8-1 for CDs. And the whole, you know, that whole is gone now. So it's a different time, and it takes a little bit of an adjustment to just stay inspired now. you really have to embrace what's going on, you know?
Yeah, I get the impression from younger people now that they're a little bit hungry for talent. They've heard all the same old things from the charts, from the pop, and they're now hungry for something a little bit more, with a little bit more meat on it, you know?
There's no substance. Yeah, there's no substance in it, man.
Yeah.
You know, these kids don't grow up wanting to be in love anymore. The kids literally are growing up saying, I'm not trying to be in love. I'm not trying to get married. I'm not trying to ever settle down. You know, and that's fine. I just think is when it's being pushed as the MO for the culture, when the culture grew up saying something so different than that. Back in the 70s, we were talking about love and free love and like just amazing, like the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, Stevie Wonder. I mean, all this music was just so. It was like love was the theme behind it all.
Absolutely.
Now it's like being like frivolous to love is almost like the theme now. You know, it's like love, like, you know. Excuse my language, but it's like that's where everyone is right now, and it's sort of like this very cynical take on women and things like that, you know. But at the same time, I look at it as like you have to adjust with the times. You have to embrace a certain perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And understand not everybody's on that page. Some people are on a different page and they want to hear something that they can relate to. So it all makes sense, man. You know, I can't hate on none of that. I just have to embrace it and understand, how do I fit into that? Like, okay, so if the kids are missing the love songs and they need the love songs, then great. I know how to do that. So I'm going to stick to what I know how to do. And I feel like if it's a suffering commodity right now, who better than me to bring it back again, you know?
Well, I think that's fabulous. And you obviously know exactly what you do, you know, judging by the music that's come out. And one burning question I have actually, Jon, is of the tunes that you've written for other people, what have you got a particular favourite that you think is, you know, that just sits with you?
Dope jacket. I really will say They Don't Know is always going to be my favorite, just because, I mean, the history of the track and how much time has gone into really, you know, just how much time has passed, and the song kind of never went away. It never faded out. And, you know, I'm just as grateful for the opportunity to have worked with Tupac, you know, being that he's not around. And
exactly,
he, very shortly died after we did that song together. So it's very sort of a gift and a curse in the same time, you know. And
it's going to hold special
so for
meaning.
me, so for me, it's very important just to, you know, to appreciate the fact that, you know, these artists now, they come out, you know, they sell a couple 100,000 downloads, you know, and that's considered like very successful. Yeah. But I sold millions of records, you know what I mean? Like, people went out and bought physically, millions of people bought my album, you know? So if you kind of look at the two and see how it is, how it's changed, and it's really telling, you know what I mean? Like, just how much the song has made, you know, what the song really means to me, my career. Without those two particular songs I just mentioned, I don't think I would be as successful as I am, for sure.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a fabulous history there. I mean, you got Bonafide in at platinum. You've got Cool Relaxing at double platinum. You know, that doesn't happen for nothing, does it? You know, you don't just...
3 million records right there, man.
You can't pull that one out of the air, can you?
If I never sell, you know, a platinum again, that's a milestone for me, man. You know, that's huge to be able to look back from not for my ego, but for my pride, and for as a man to be able to stand up on my own too and do it again, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, if I never receive that same recognition again, I'm still loving what I do, because I can always think back, you know?
That's great.
But it's not about thinking back. I want to think forward, and I do want to think in a sense of I haven't, you know, peaked yet, in a sense. I really still feel like I want to peak again, you know?
Well,
come back. I can reemerge and just really make some great music.
Wonderful. And that kind of, because I'm conscious of time and I know you've got a gig to do yet tonight, but one more question I was going to ask you is about the future.
Okay.
What do you got planned for for sort of 2015. What's in mind for that one then, Jon?
Yeah, so 2015 is great because I'm doing a lot of collaboration. I recently did a collaboration with Eric Bellinger. Was my most recent thing on his album, his last effort. So we're writing together right now for my project, which is great. He's an amazing singer and songwriter, and he wrote Chris Brown's "Fine China" song. So yeah. along with a lot of other hits, but he's definitely doing his thing. I'm collaborating with some different producers this time, and I'm not at liberty to say who because we're trying to figure everything out contractually and business-wise. So don't want to speak too soon about something that's not finalized. But you can definitely expect this album to be a return to the cool, relax, and the stronger every day and the pleasures you like. That whole era right there. It's very like collaborative sort of atmosphere for me. I had a lot of the right heads in the studio just vibing with me, and that's what it's about. And that's how you get those albums to sound like that. It's like the horsepower in my engine, I have more horsepower. It's going to come out more. Hey, peace, man. All right. It's going to come out even that much doper,
Yeah, understood. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Well, we're seriously looking forward to the new stuff coming out 2015. And
awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Wonderful. Well, I don't want to take up forever with you because I know that you've got work to do, but I just want to say have an absolutely fantastic show tonight. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in the studio tonight, so can't make it across to Camden. Otherwise, I'd be there in the audience.
Oh, man, too bad. Well, I'm coming back next year, or I don't know, maybe I'll be back sooner than that, but I sincerely appreciate the questions, man. Thank you. Thank you. Everything's been really lovely to answer, so thank you for the questions. I appreciate it.
And very much appreciate your answers. Very, very honest and very great depth, and that's always very welcome when you're interviewing someone, when someone's willing to sort of open up and talk. That's fabulous. So thank you very much indeed.
Oh wow, thank you. Absolutely.
That's great. Well, hopefully we won't leave it too long before we speak again, Jon. And if you've got new stuff in 2015, we'll be there behind you with that. So, give us a shout here at Sound Fusion.
I so appreciate you, man. I want to say thank you in advance, man.
No problem at all.
All right, man. Well, the pleasure was mine, man.
Oh, the pleasure was mine too. You have a fabulous gig and enjoy the night, and we'll speak to you very, very soon. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, now. All right, Gloss. Take care, brother.
You take care too, brother. Thank you. All right. Peace to you.
All right, now. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.